We move from Trump's response to his arraignment yesterday in Washington, D.C., to his attorney, Alina Habba's response and her making this strange concession. She admits to something very wild as she's standing doing a press conference outside of the courthouse. Take a look at this. You'll notice a big talking point right now is Trump actually didn't know that he legitimately lost. And that's why it's not fair to accuse him of deliberately deceiving people and trying to deceive them into taking unlawful actions to overturn an election. That's not fair because he actually believed these things. But Alina Habba says, well, everyone knew he lost.
Let's go one more. Alina, there are a number of, there's testimony and there's a number of aides that have said that the president was made aware that he lost the election and yet continued to argue that it was stolen from him. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think that everybody was made aware that he lost the election, but that doesn't mean that that was the only advice he was given. As anybody understands what happens in the Oval Office, there are a numerous amount of advisors. And
if everyone knew he lost, maybe you should call him up and tell him that. Or prepare for your defense, because that was going to be a big part of it.
Politicians and lawyers, not just one or two, that are giving you advice and telling you what they believe is true. So he may not agree with Mike Pence. He may not agree with one of his lawyers, but that doesn't mean that there weren't other people advising him exactly the opposite. And the president has a right, as every one of us do, to listen to several opinions and make their decision.
Trump can know that he lost and can have been presented with so much evidence to that effect that of course you can assume he knew. And there are statements we've heard of him admitting that privately. And Chris Christie recently said that Trump absolutely acknowledged that he lost and said that to Chris Christie, and then turn around and go, but I don't like that fact, so I'm going to lie about it, and I want to surround myself with other people who are going to lie about it. But just because then he got really consistent in his lies and got consistent with surrounding himself with people who would lie to his face as well, doesn't mean at some point and underlying always he didn't know that he actually lost. Because I think it's pretty fair to assume, based on what we've seen, and hopefully what will be brought forward in the future as well as a part of Jack Smith's investigation, that he knew. Then another moment from this Alina Habba press conference.
About free speech, but the special counsel says Trump could have disagreed with the results and talked about it. No crime there. The difference is what he did to try and switch the votes.
Before getting to her response, of course, the reporter is asking about the talking point we are having to deal with so many times, even though it seems so easy to debunk, that Trump's being indicted for his freedom of speech, his First Amendment right, and he was just questioning the results. No, it's the actions that he was taking based on the lies he was telling. It's not just the lies he was telling.
So what is it that he did to try and switch the votes that you refer to? By bringing cases, by using the law in an appropriate manner, unlike what we're sitting here today seeing. This is not appropriate. What President Trump did is he said, go patriotically and peacefully and protest. That is an American right. That is why we are America and we are not a third world country. Although I will say that today, I don't feel very much like we are in America.
I get that a TV defense and an actual in-court defense will be different. But if you're on Trump's side for some reason, get off of it. But if you are hoping that it's going to go well for him, these moments don't give me a lot of faith that that's going to happen. Because there she goes, what did he do to try to overturn the vote count, to overturn the results? Legally challenge it in the court? Yeah, but that's not what's at issue here at all. Again, in the indictment explicitly, it says that was fine. Not those exact words, but it clearly outlines that bringing lawsuits, legal means, perfectly within Trump's rights, and saying a bunch of stuff, even if false, within his right. It is the stuff outside of the law, obviously, that prosecutors have an issue with. The fake elector scheme, trying to fraudulently put forward a slate of electors that aren't the actual electors and then pretend that Trump actually won. Or refuse to do the governmental constitutional process of certifying the next election, or have state officials pretend to find votes and fraudulently pretend that Trump won a state when he didn't, or all these different things, right? And that's what is at issue here, not the legal things he did that of course he had the right to do. So bringing up things that aren't even relevant to the conversation, to me, shows that you really don't have a strong argument for things that are relevant to the conversation. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are able to be uploaded to the YouTube channel, plus get the bonus show on the weekends, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership, and there's a link in the description.